Here's some quick intro titles. La 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 la. There we go. Right. Well, this is live coding. Blah 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 blah. I forgot to press the button. Thank you very much, Alan. I'm sorry. I've been talking to myself again. Let's give ourselves another go, shall we? From the top. Usually, I've got Talia to check on this, but she's not been very well, and she's not around today. So, see, I'm nothing without my wife now. Let's give this another whirl, shall we? Right, cup of tea. And welcome to Coding with Gerph. This is where I'm trying to do some template manipulation for Riscos. I'm loading templates and manipulating them. And what were we doing? So last week we did the very simple, it's taken 3 weeks, parsing template files. So we parse the template files and we can actually load them. So let's give a demonstration of that, which I tried doing earlier, and then got distracted because I forgot to press the button. Not a big deal. Right, here we are. This is module loaded, and we can now run the test program. Test load template. And this will parse the template file. There we go, we're parsing it and printing out the results. And oh, yeah, yes, again, I've forgotten to change screen mode. So mode 28 will give us some greys in there, and we can actually load it and have sensible colors. Well, better colors anyway. So yeah, this is demonstrating that we can parse the file, and what we've parsed is valid because it has managed to load it into an actual window, which is cool. The parsing is all done in C, so we're going to be moving through that. Does this mean you don't get your royalty? You get your royalty just as normal, Dave, for your titles. I mean, I can play them again. It's I'm very sorry. See, you just need to slap me when I'm not here, because you'll realise that I'm not that great. What I'd really like is something that actually tells me you are live, and probably going you are live from what do you call it, from YouTube. It's probably not that hard using the YouTube API, but that would be really cool, because then I could actually like know that I wasn't being an idiot. Yay! It's all fun, isn't it? Anyway, yes, we've got this window appearing, and the next thing we're doing is we're trying to get enumeration and sizing working, which is what I was starting to implement when Alan reminded me that I wasn't live. So come out of there, and I'll pop back over here, which is where we have the documentation. So this is the documentation for Wimp load templates, and it says all the parameters you've got, and this is the one for enumeration. Position to search from, 0 for the first call, and then 0 if we didn't find anything. So you pass 0 in, you get back a new identifier, and eventually it'll go to 0 again. And down here is the documentation of where that is. So if anybody wants to find this, this is the link to the documentation. Oh, and whilst I remember, this is also, I did post a link to the code, didn't I? Because yeah, just nobody saw it, or people saw it because it was on the chat. Anyway, this is what happens here. How we enumerate it. So we search for all the templates by passing in a wildcard, and then we say R6 equals 0, the first call, and then we repass that number in, and then finally it returns 0 to say I didn't find one. That I didn't find one. Yeah, after the last template is found, not when the last template is found. Might just check that one, because the enumeration might be slightly different. We'll have to check and see. And we overwrite the name that's been passed in. So it's got to be a 12-byte buffer. Right, so we can do this. This is relatively simple. So over in the code, I'd started implementing this. I'm talking to nobody. So I've added in this extra parameter here for the start, the index we want to start at, 0 to start it, and then we return index of the template to use as normal, and -1 if it's invalid. And that's because this is an interface that's slightly different. So we're going to return the index that we found it at, which is slightly different to what the external interface is, but we'll fix that up in the external interface. So what I've also added here is, if they passed as a negative number, we'll start at the beginning. That'll stop us going before the array. And if it's a very large number, greater than the number of entries, greater than or equal to the number of entries, we're done. And we just say -1, we're finished. So those are the terminating conditions. So now we can actually say we start at the start point, and that's it. That's all this function needs for enumerating. So if that's all we need for enumeration, I need to put that into the header file. Let's put that into the header file. Find identifier, there we go. There we are. So that's now in the header file, and then we update our test code in main to be able to handle that. So find identifier here, pass in a 0. We also want to enumerate them. So what can I do here? Right, if I pass in, actually let's go and make this so it's actually different syntax. So we can actually have Wimp Templates file name like that. No, that wasn't what I was thinking. What I was thinking was we'll have one that's load, and there's one that's going to be enumerate. Oh dear, I didn't double click that. There we go. And then we can just enumerate it instead of loading it. We don't need the template file there. Right, so then we'll just do a special thing. That file name is no longer in 1, it's in 2, and we need to check the argument. This also means that we now need 3 arguments in there. So if, we'll call it command, shall we? Char star command. Command equals argv bracket 1. Strcmp command load. Then we're going into this bit of the code that we had previously. So all this section here is what we want. In either case, we're actually wanting to open the file. So actually we could put this bit outside. Shall I put that outside? Yeah, we'll put that outside. That'd be there. That'd be better, wouldn't it? Because we're always going to want a file name. Yeah, we're always going to want a file name. Which means that I've got everything over indented now. Oh, we can just unindent that a bit. That's fine. Right. You know, that'd be better actually in a function, wouldn't it? Let's put it into a function. Load file, load template, sorry. And then we'll pass in the, do we need to pass in a handle? Yeah, we need to pass in the open template handle. There we go, yeah. So I'll just make this all into a function, void load template. I think you're quiet again this week. Ugh. Right, let's see what we can do about this. You're a little bit wiggly there. Why are you so wiggly? It's all right. Oh, is it that bit I need to do? No, it's not that bit I need to change. How about do? No, I don't want it quite that way. I can't do that. Oh no, that's not going to work. Oh no, that's not stretching quite as far. Or if I do that, I can't see. I can't see the monitor then. Everything's falling over. Why are you not tight there? I don't know what's on with that. Just There will be a small delay whilst I sort out my audio equipment. Oh, I've muted myself. Oh, there's a mute on there, isn't there? Yeah, that's quite cute. Let's put that there. Point it that way with the guard in front. Oh, now everything's falling over. Yeah. I'm kind of unsure how this should be done. I wonder if I can. Oh no, it doesn't bend quite that much that way. So we can go this way. But that's no good because then I can't see anything and the mic's right in front of me. Ooh. Oh no, I can't put it down here because if I put it down here, I can't type. Ooh. Wonder if... Oh no, you can't... No, that's not going to work. How about up there? Like that. I think that up there is probably a good place for it to be. This isn't quite doing the right thing. All right, how's that sound? Is that sounding any better? You got any feedback for me on that? I'm going to see the sound settings here. You think that's better? Okay. Let me just see. Input microphone is this one. Ooh, ooh. Has that got any louder when I did that? I did that. I increased the volume on the macOS controls. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can just put it back where it was and then see if that's still louder. That got louder. Good. Okay. So that was the macOS controls I updated then. Now do that there. Is this better? Is that a good level for everybody? Thumbs up from anyone? That is louder. Good. All right. We'll see how we go. I may have to go and watch these back and have a see what I actually get. Cool. All right. One of the things about if you've recorded a video, if you're recording them, you've got like a chance to review them and see that they're okay. But when you're doing them live, or at least when I'm doing them live, I don't tend to come back at them. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. There should only be one live at any time, I'm afraid, Riscos UK. So it should be all good, but I'm not sure how better to advertise it. Did I advertise it wrong? That's the other question. Did you follow the link on the Riscos forum? Because sometimes I have posted the wrong one, and that was stupid. If it doesn't say that it's for today, then it is the wrong one. Maybe I should update the description after it's been live. Say upcoming for one of them. I might do that. That probably is a good idea. Not showing you from. Fair enough. I mean, all of this stuff is a bit new to me. Well, I say I've been doing it for about a year now, so maybe not. The other thing that people have suggested is using Twitch, but I think Twitch is a bit more gamery, and I'm not quite so keen on that. I don't know. YouTube seems to probably be the better audience, I feel, for now. We can always change things in the future. And I've got distracted. Right, okay, so hopefully the volume is good. I was also hearing a little bit of a squeak or something when I was typing, was it? Or was it when I was finished talking? I was definitely hearing a squeak on one of my videos, the presentation last week, which I was rather frustrated by. I probably need to just do a bit of maintenance around the workstation. I think is probably the main thing. Workstation. God, I sound like I'm actually at work. Anyway. Yes, so what I was doing was trying to convert this to a little function. So we've got this here. Viscous UK's had lots of problems trying to set up his machine. A broken boot. Yes. The backup to the backup was causing issues. I like the fact that you've got backups. That is always a good thing. But yeah, it is frustrating when maintaining it causes you more problems. Right, so there we go. We've got a nice simple just load the template function there, which is, yeah, good. And then we can have a second one here that is Viscous UK says he backs up to, or they back up to SCSI 4, then back up to a NAS, and then to the cloud. That's a good sequence. I like it. Definitely should do that. Yes. I have a similar sort of setup here that has many backups. It's harder when you've got multiple machines as well, because you end up with lots and lots of things having to go to different places, which is very frustrating. But yeah, enum templates. So this time we're going to enumerate them. It should be easy enough. In fact, it should be very similar at least, if not identical. So enum template. Oh, I didn't pass in the file name, did I? I need to pass in the template name. Oh, so template name is, oh, we'll pass in argc and argv. It'll be easier, won't it? Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Wrong function. Wrong function. Oh. I did quite well today. I actually had a reasonable amount of sleep last night, so you'd think I'd be a little bit better, but apparently not. So both of those need to take parameters for argc, oh, I didn't pass them. Shall star argv, back it a bit, and int argc, and this is the same for both of them. Blade server in your attic. Well, very nice. Yes, that's very cool. My server is down in the understairs closet, which unfortunately then has to have the door kept open because otherwise it overheats, which is bad. Right. Let's see what we can do about enumerating. So we don't need to have any window data at all because that doesn't matter. Template name, don't need. Oh, you do need something because we need to pass in the thing. So if we, oh, that should be creating 3 there. 3, and that should be arg3. Thank you. Is it 3, or have I just made a mistake? So 1 is that, 2 is the file name, 3 is definitely the template. That's right, yeah. Three then. 3? Yeah, that's right. Oh dear. The number of times that I've got off by 1 errors on things, you'd think I'd know this stuff, but apparently not. Don't need any buffering because we're not going to do anything. And if the template is not equal to null, right. If it is null, we'll set the template name to be star because then we'll enumerate everything. Oh no, hang on. The template name here has got to be a buffer we can write into. It's got to have a buffer we can write into. So 13 bytes because I want to null terminate it as well. So here we want to copy into there, extra copy into there from argv bracket 3, and if it was null, oh, it can't be null. No, else if you didn't supply one, that's why. And if you didn't supply one, then the template name will be star. Nozici. There we are. Right. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to do find identifier. So finding template from the template name. Oh, except we've got to copy it in each time. Wildcard name. This is why you need to read the documentation, because otherwise you get it wrong and you look like a fool. Template name equals null. Okay. Wildcard name equals argv3, and on this side it equals star, because if we don't copy it in it will not work. Wildcard name, there we are, get rid of that. Until we get to the end. Finding template, template name. Find identifier from that using a start number. So we need to have a... Oh, start number can be template num, can't it? There we go. Template num. If it's -1, we can say end of list. There we go, and we're done. That's not an error, that's a success case. Otherwise, template number is that, so we need to find that template so we can get the name. Oh, hang on, how do I get the name? Oh, index to name, that's how we do it, like that. And it just returns a pointer to the name. Oh, we didn't actually need to have this in a buffer that was going to be overwritten, did we? Because this is not the external interface, it's an internal interface. That's fine. I know what I'm doing. OT, template num. Name is syntax name. And then we go around again. Oh no, we have to add one to it. So we want to start, excuse me, we want to start from the next template that was supplied. And that should be it for the enumeration, I think. Okay, let's give it a whirl, shall we? It's probably not going to work, but we'll have a go. We'll have to see what happens. Hi, Roshan. Anybody else new? No, that's a lot. We've got 7 viewers today. That's not bad. Qualify losing implicit cast of pointer. Const jar star. That should be okay. What's the next? Any other things? T error declared but not used. Right, we don't need the error thing. That's fine. And enum template. Oh, enum templates. There we go. Now that's correct. Oh, rebuild it, please. Enum templates. Did you not? Did I not say that? Enum templates. Emum. Oops. Did I type that? No, that one's typed. Okay. There we go. We built that program. So let's run it. Not that one. This one. The program that tests the data. Just do it the command line. Oh, except this is invalid, isn't it? Because I've changed the syntax. What I want to do here is to do else move it into a function. Boom, 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 boom. There we are. And then we can do the same for this bit as well. Just call syntax there and it'll fail. syntax. Yeah, that's fine. So what I need to do here is load. No, not load, I wanted enum. Sorry, brain not with it. So we're linked, run it, come on. Template name, start finding it, end of list. So apparently that's the only template in that file. Do we think that's the only template in that file? Test data / templates info. Yeah. Okay, that looks like it's only got one template in because they've got the info name there and then no other names after it except that 30 which is a leftover. Yeah, so that looks like it only has one template. So what others have we got in here? We've got a palette, a clipping, and a true color. So let's try the palette one, shall we? I think this has got more in. Yeah, so here we go. We've got black background, grey background, red background, and I think that's it. And then we can see that there's other bits in here. What I'd like is, and I still haven't got around to it, is using CC res to go and, when I do a less, for it to go and decode that, but I just haven't got around to building the blooming thing. I'm sure it isn't hard. No, I lie. I'm sure I've tried before and it was hard, and I'm sure Dave said he's had difficulty building it as well. But I think we just need to get it built, and then we can have a slightly better view on what templates actually are. Or I can actually make this code into a print out what templates contain. That would also work as well. I'm realizing now that maybe I should have used the CC res code as part of my parser. Dave says he did a load of work on it and never got it upstreamed. Code quality of your code or the code quality of its code? I suspect it's its code, as you're generally pretty good. But no comments. Right, let's try this template then, shall we? So this one here, we're going to try the palette one. Generally, I was going, yeah, fine. All right, your code is always great. I'm sorry. Offended me friends. Slap. Right, what do we get when we try enumerating the palette? What do we get? Come on. We get an error because I, yes again, forgot to put the enum in the front of it. I used the wrong template command. It's always great, Dave. I'll admit that my code is not always great. It often has a bit of a mess in it. Right, and what we've got here is an enumeration that says all of the templates. And it has, oh, so that's why it's loaded them, and this is where it's enumerating them, and it's enumerated them correctly. So I feel pretty good about that. That is pretty neat. One thing that's interesting here actually is that if we have a look up here at the load template interface, we don't actually have the type of the template being returned. We don't know what type of data it is. Almost all the time it'll be type 1, which means template, but there could be other types of data in there in the future. The idea was that you could have resources in there like sprites maybe, or messages for translations and things like that. So I'm extrapolating from what I understand. It is quite possible that that could be an interface that could be created for it, but I don't know if it has. Oh, interesting, the red one is very marginally smaller. Wonder why that is. Not going to worry, but fair enough. All right, so we have a template, not a template, enumeration working. And support for enumerating in the internal library. Internal module, it's not still a library yet. It's difficult having module as a Viscos term and module as a code term as well. The internal templates module is now able to enumerate the identifiers in the template. This is only in the template file, sorry. Only in the internals and needs exposing. There we go, that's done. Push to GitHub. So if we go here, reload, we should see. Come on, add support for internal enumerating. There we go. Awesome. Right, so now we need to expose this out to the external interface, which is in the module. So let's have a look in the module here. So here's the open templates interface, closed template. Where's the load? Hang on, didn't I'm sure I implemented the load interface before. Didn't I? Did I not get around to actually implementing it? Oh, no, I didn't scroll far enough, apparently. Yeah, I'm stupid, apparently. Yeah. So there we go. This is the load interface. Here's the context, which is the index number that we were using. All right, so we just need to make that context get used. And here's the find identifier. Context goes into there. Pass that in there. If we get back -1, then we know that there's no template available. That's good. However, it also says we need to copy the name given into the template, into the returned value. So, it does explicitly say in this, that you can search for all of a given form there. So it may be wildcarded as it's overwritten by the actual one. Does it always do that? Does it always go and overwrite it, or does it only overwrite it if it was wildcarded? It's unclear from the documentation. What do I do in Viscos Pyromaniac? What do we do in there? Let's have a quick look. So the /. Did I have it open? I probably had the file open, didn't I? Templates C, templates Py. Here we go. Oh, this is only the internal implementation. It's not actually the SWI interface. So SWI Wimp. SWI template maybe. Do I have it in? I must be implemented in the. Oh, I'm not in the right. I need to actually open Pyromaniac to actually get to there, don't I? So, SWI's template. There we go, Wimp template. So in the load template here, ooh, hang on. Name. Hang on. Template name. That is not right. That is really not right. So what we're doing there is we're returning back the new template name, and then we're putting it into R5, point as the actual name. But that's not what it says it does. it says the wildcarded name is overwritten by the actual one found. That is a bug in how Pyromaniac does it. So I'm still going to have a look at the Riscos source code, which I was hoping to not have to do. Do I have a window on the Wimp already? I think I went and closed a load of windows, so I've only got a small selection of windows open now. So let's go and find that. Not kernel, desktop Wimp. And I think last time I guessed it was in 3, didn't I? Or did I guess it was in 6? Let's see if it's in 3. It's not in 3, it must be in 6 then. Yeah, there we go. Because you remember these numbers. Stupid. Yeah. Open template. Close template. Load template. In, name of entry, may be wildcarded. The actual definition is slightly different. It actually says that it doesn't matter what you pass in for the indirect entries. That's slightly different as well. And internally it turns it into a 0 rather than a -1. And it says in the documentation here, an option was added where you can say, oh, that might be me though. That might have been me because I went through and changed all of the uses of negative numbers and replaced them with -1. So, see what Riscos 5 does, because git.riscos.open.org is it gitlab.riscos? There it is. Okay, explore source. Come on. Here we go. Riscos sources desktop. Why are these not sorted? Desktop. There we go. Desktop Wimp, please. Where's Wimp? There you are. Ugh. That really. Allow the button colors to be cut. Let's not use that. No, we will not get irritated at the lack of thought by rule. The bit I'm wanting was in Wimp 06, and the bit I was looking for was around line 334. Probably similar line number. I've gone past it. Here we go. Interesting. Just for reference, so we spin that over to the right, pop this here and spin this over to the left, and then I'll pop into here so you can see both of them. So here we've got load template, check the file handle, and then there's no check for user block there. Move setting flags if it's not equal, using it. That's odd. Data into user bus unless R1 is null on entry. But R1 isn't null on entry. R1 was -1. Unless null pointer is actually -1, which is possible, I suppose. Oops, can't spell. Something in the header, please. It's a pity I can't select a particular subdirectory there. Yeah, there's a lot of these in here. Page 3. I missed it, did I? Thank you, Dave. 3. I'm not seeing. Oh, there's notes. Null pointer, there we go. It's -1. Of course it's -1 because, yeah. That's very weird. I mean, it's going to just confuse you. Anyway, regardless of that, thank you for spotting it, Dave. Back in the sources here. So here we go. They look for the use block and they go, is it -1? If not, go back to there. Accept loose pointer, negative or... Ah, there we go. So they've got the a similar thing. I just converted it to be -1 at the beginning. This bit, oh sorry, this bit here just goes. Did they give us -1? Yeah, in which case just use 0 to make it more sane, because that made more sense to me. And then here they're actually doing ASR -1, 31 to make it just that last bit. They could have used a tust there. It would have been a heck of a lot easier just to use TST, since that's all you're checking for. Right, anyway, not important. That's just how they've done it there. I do like this macro though, in a general way, because it makes it clear what you're trying to do. Although, again, I wouldn't have done it all the way through the code. I'd have done it at the beginning, because it only needs to be happen once. Anyway, that was not what we were looking for. What we were looking for was what happens to the template name. Exit template for the size. It's template icon. Did I miss something here? Does it happen early on? Right, so we come in here. It was wildcarded. Copy the actual name back. Oh, 14 temp workspace. Where's temp workspace come from? Don't know. Yeah, so it actually does mean exactly what it says, where it's doing the wildcard name only if it's wildcarded. So that's fun. Okay, well, if that's the case, that's fine. It means we can then be more explicit about how we do things. So let's go over here and fix up this code, because this is Pyromaniac. It's wrong. So if star in name or hash in name, they wildcarded the template name, so we need to replace the name they supplied. It's a horrible interface. It really is quite nasty, I think. We don't want to attempt to replace this. What we want to do is just do that's ugly. This thing here. Dot string equals template name. Yeah, we never really needed the template name memory there at all. This only happens when the string is wildcarded. Documentation isn't clear, but implies this. Okay, so there we are. That's that part. Now we copy that Pyromaniac down here. Oh, this is the same with the other code. This is it. Here we go. Not this one. I want the module. Where's the module gone? Here we are, module. So find template, find identifier, Right. If stra spun, see spun, man stra spun. Spun's the initial part of the notation. Oh, that's awkward, isn't it? It's that's fine. In which case, then I'll just do a. Oh, except it's a. At this point, it's a control terminated string, so it's actually going to have to go into one of these calls here. Control structure. Oh, control wildcard. Oh. Oh, that's good. Oh, question mark. Question mark is a wild. Oh, I did that wrong. There we go. Let's just fix that. There we are. Is question mark a wildcard? Find a question mark. Find a hash. What is the what? This is silly. Come on. Match names. I said where the match names function was, didn't I? Match names is a star or a hash. If it's a star or a hash, then this function is wrong. It should be that. Which means that I was right in Pyromaniac the first time. So I can put that back to being a hash as well. Fine, okay. I do like that the conventions are so consistent. So what was my function called? It was this thing here. Control wildcarded. There we go. If control wildcarded, bracket. I may have already been thinking about this. That might be what it means. Template name. Then they wildcarded the name. The original. Okay, so what we do here is we just do a copy of. Oh, I need to find the template first, don't I? I need to convert the net text to name. Oh, I did this in here when I did the enumeration. Here we go. This is it here. Index to name. There we are. So const char star string copy to template name from name, maximum length 12 characters. We're not worrying about word alignment. Classic. Riscos. Wimp must have it word aligned because it's lazy. There we go. So if we now have it wildcarded, we copy it to there. Read templates. This is where we're actually doing the actual name. We don't want to do that here because that's wrong. I could have modified that one, I suppose. That would be nice here to actually go and print it out, wouldn't it? Printf or dprintf. Wildcard resolved to name. There we go. That'll give us a little bit more information. We'll try and read the template and then get the space required. Oh, we've always got to get the data required. That's right, yeah. And then we return the template number. plus 1. Because if they started at 0, this is the number we're going to start at next time. So that's going to need to be added to 1. Yeah, that seems good to me. All right, I feel happy with that. I think I feel happy with that. Express hello. Make a module. Variable size declared but not used, 524. Not the right file. Templates. Okay, what's the size? Ah, we read the data size and the data offset. Yeah, we never actually check that anything is outside things, but we do know that they're outside the file. Probably not needed. I think that's probably okay. So I've now got a module that we can use. Did I have any code that could actually test this? Test data, templates. No, I've not got any explicit code to test it. I can just write some, I suppose. Duplicate as test enum template. Template enumeration works. Right. Open templates. Let's open the palette one because that's the one that's got the useful bits in it. And then we want to just iterate over them, don't we? So, while true, do these things. We don't care about opening the windows, we're just going to enumerate them now. While. And I'm actually going to pass in -1, -1, 0, -1, template name there, and that'll give us the required size and everything at the end of it. Okay. And we want to print out the name as well, don't we? So print, oops, print. Oh, I've got the name printed out there. Oh, that looks good then. So if next is not 0, so let's continue. I'll do let's continue here, and then we'll, if it's not 0, then we can print something out like this. Otherwise, continue equals false. There we go. I'm not completely sure that'll work, but we'll give it a whirl. So pyrodev, load templates, and then we want to run this command, don't we? So command. Actually, let's go into GOS and then we can just leave it running. That's what I was trying to do last week. I was doing a faster cycle doing this. Right. So what we want to do now is test enum templates. Not found. Template. Okay, not quite so good. Pyromaniac debug plus trace block. Right. That looks like it's failing inside part of a str copy there, or possibly a str len. Not sure. We're inside basic. R1. Oh, it's reached the end of memory. Yeah, it looks like it's reached the end of memory there. Let's also trace. Oh, let's not just trace twice. Let's just do trace. How many at config? Damn it, can't spell. Config trace dot swytraps equals wimp templates load template. Okay, and then clear that and run it again. C string op used on a control to. This is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think we've probably done that, but I thought I'd been careful. So, oh, that's interesting. The swytrap was never triggered. Did I not write it right? Oh, well, we'll see. We'll just have a look at what I've got here. Oh, no. It's because I didn't put a new line on the end of the file. The basic that I've got isn't apparently correct. Start again. I have another build of basic that allows us to have a blank line on the end of the end of the file to be not blank. Oh, this is one that starts with WX. I didn't need to have WX, but it doesn't matter. There we go. So it was basic that was actually broken. Of course, this in enumerating them, it has to actually load all the data, so it can actually, or at least read all the data to work out how much space is needed. I could just turn that part off. Template number 0, wildcard resolved to black BG. Required space, next is number 1. I never set next. Oh, it's just going to keep looping forever, this, isn't it? Because I passed in a 0 and then I returned the next. I never actually set next to be a value. Next, there we go. There we go. Next percent equals 0. Okay, try again. Clear, run it. Excuse me. So that's the first one enumerated, required space, name, black background. Coming to the next one now. Second one, required space 518, grey. And then finally we returned an error at the end of it. That's not so good. I don't think we should return a no template entry found on the last one if they were just enumerating. Does that make sense? Is that right? Should we actually check this? We should probably check this, shouldn't we? Yeah, let's try and check it, shall we? Okay, let's get out of this and go and try link dot wp/library. This is near enough what I wanted. I want to put it into rpcmu at Wimp Templates will do. rpcmu. Hello, here we are. F12. Dear Wimp Templates. And it's called test enum template. Ugh. Basic minus load test enum template. Run. Oh, bother. Let's just tweak the code very, very quickly, just so it calls the regular swine names. Maybe I should have built the freaking names up differently, but it doesn't matter. Load test enum template. $. Line editor. Hello. Right. Load test text load test quotes in the wrong place test enum template. There we go. Run. Okay, so that did required space and then didn't exit with an error. So if it didn't exit with an error, we should continue with that. That was quite nice. All right, so just put that over there temporarily, and then we can tweak our code here. Put that back. There we go, back to the way it was. And then this code here. Where's the right. If, oh no, we need to, if control wildcarded, and we want to just set all the values to be zeros to be safe. So reg to r bracket 1 bracket equals 0. 2 and 6 has also got to be set to be 0 because this is the terminating entry. They wanted to enumerate, but we're at the end. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to also turn off the, oh, not in this file, in dprintf. Why is dprintf defined? How is this working? I've got a dprintf there, but I've never defined it. Oh, I'm confused. Does it not work? It does work. Printf in h. Did I put something in? I put it in templates. Why did I put it in templates? In the header for templates. That's not what I wanted to do. It should be in the C file for templates, which it is. Okay. And then I want that also to be in the module code here. All right, let's rebuild that. Let's clean it and then build it again, just to be completely sure I've actually got everything right. Okay, that's working. So now I should be able to run, oh no, let me just turn off the debug, because that was my point, wasn't it? I wanted to turn it off in here. Build the module. And then run this. I left WX on there, so it's still running the desktop as well, the display as well. There we go. So it's still got a little bit of debug in there, but mostly it's coming out correctly with the names coming out wrongly. These bits here are odd. Oh, it's because it's control terminated rather than 0 terminator, that's fair enough. But it looks like that's come out okay. I think the difference here is I've got this debug left on. Should I turn that off? Host command ammo. Sorry. Ammo minus F make file module. Now if I try it, oh, I didn't load it. rm32 dot load the module, then try the enumeration. Right, now if we pop this over here, required size 347, indirect end 33, black. Oh, interesting. So when it enumerates, when Classic enumerates, it's the enumeration position is actually the offset in the file, whereas we're returning just the index. I think we're safer because I suspect if you passed in 41 or something, you'd get it breaking parts of the Wimp, which wouldn't be good. So the other thing is I'm getting the required size slightly differently. I think this required size is different largely because of the implementation I've done here is loading it with just the memory it needs, whereas the Classic implementation is load the entire data block into memory and then decode it, which is why it takes a lot more space. I think that's what's going on. However, the indirect end, that's interesting. I'm returning 1 extra byte. I'm not going to worry about it. I think that probably is okay. Ovation Pros templates is enormous. Whoa, yeah, let's give that a whirl. Right, let's see what we can do. So let's move this out of the way. Let's drop out of here and find Ovation Pro, shall we? If I remember rightly, Pyromaniac demo others. No, that's just the Doom work that I had there. I thought I had Ovation in here. Of Pro, there we go. Of Pro 2. Presumably that's got something in it. It's got a zip archive and a directory called Q, which has Of Pro in it, which contains. Why do I not see a template in there? Oh, thing of res directory, yeah, thank you. And then UK because templates, whee! Copy to here. It's quite likely this will not work, but let's give it a whirl. What's the worst that can happen? Well, the point is, it ought to work because we want to be able to find out what. Oh, I didn't want to just call it templates, did I? That's fine. Oh, what does my load template do? Enum template here. Failed to initialize the. What? You were working a moment ago. Now what's wrong? That was strange. It's being very slow. What's going on there? Hang on a second. Whee! Oh, that's not quite what I wanted. What I wanted was this? CPU usage. OBS is getting upset. It's being heavy on that. Yeah, not a lot else. Interesting. RBCMU, a bit of memory usage. Yeah, not stupidly high. Oh well, fair enough. Not sure what's going on with that. I'm gonna just set it aside and we'll try looking at this again. Right, so in here we're looking at the let's move that. Change this to file equals. The main thing I've got different is that I've got RPCMU running, which is not unreasonable. Templates. There we go. Ooh, templates. Okay. Okay, let's see what we get out of that then. So test enum. Oh, enum template. There we go. Oh. That's looking like it's working. I mean, it's enumerating them at least. I mean, this is good. You did say there was quite a few. Oh my gosh. I mean, you do expect templates to have a large amount of, files to have a large amount of templates in for a complicated program. So this is not surprising. But it is cool that it's actually loading them all. It's 85, yeah, 85K is pretty massive. That is pretty awesome. I wonder if we can, so I'll leave that running. So if we look at the load template code, change the load template code to do the same thing. So there we go, now we've got this. Oops, no, too far. There we go, 110 templates that had in it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this to be an enumeration. Template equals stuff. Temp name equals string. Load it. Next pointer is this one here. Next required size, name, next. Yeah, if I put the name at the top, indent this a little, it'll make it a little bit clearer what I'm doing. And then I can create the window, open it, end while. Oh, I've also got to copy my terminating condition as well, haven't I? Terminating condition is this one here. There, and then the else at the end of it. And all this lot can be indented. I missed a line. There we are. Yeah, that probably won't work so well, but let's have a see. There's the window that's doing things. Echo bracket 12, isn't it? Clear screen. I also want to make sure we do a VDU4 after we open the window, so we get back to text output. All right. Wimp mode 28. Oop, 289. Yeah, fair enough. That was a bad mode. You're quite right. And then run load template. How fun is that? Ooh, I've got some odd colours on that, on the scroll bars for that. That's pretty neat. So some of them are slightly off the screen because that's where they were originally designed. But many of these are coming out okay. Not seeing any problems. Nothing's jumping out as being problematic. Ooh. Oh, that was apparently got a lot of content in it. I really should have had a bigger window, couldn't I? I didn't realise it was going to be quite so far off the screen. Yeah, it's not a big deal. We're only halfway there. One thing that's sort of irritating is I've clearly got something about the text rendering wrong in Pyromaniac. All the text appears very slightly too low, which I think is an issue with calculating the baseline position. I'll have to have a look into that at some point. No crashes yet. Even though they're off the screen, it'll still be trying to do all the operations, so it'll still be trying to render those, I think. I'm pretty sure we don't filter those off the screen. Those look weird. That white background there looks a little bit odd. I'm not sure about that. That's probably not my fault. It's probably it's probably not this module's fault. It's probably Pyromaniac doing that wrong. And those bits there, there's some sprites not being loaded properly and things. Or they wouldn't have sprites because they're not present. Oh, we're done. There we go. So nothing crashed. So that's pretty nice. That's a pretty successful test, I think. Thank you very much for pointing out that template file. That'll be a quite good one to us to try in the future. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rename that in here as of Pro Templates, FEC, so that I'll be able to use that in the future. But I won't commit it to the repository, because if I commit it to the repository, it doesn't belong to me, and it's not valid for me to do that. I would be in breach of license for Ovation Pro. I think Ovation Pro is under GPL now, which is you shouldn't be doing that. Viscos does not like that. But anyway, that is cool. So what we got then? We've got control turning string changes, modules, templates, load templates, and we've got the new test for test enum template. Dave says he's opened the source but reserved the rights. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It just means it pretty much means you can't like distribute it. You can't, whatever you've done with it, you can't do anything with. Which, to be honest, isn't all that useful. But I mean, you can always feed it back to him. That's not a terrible thing either. Right, I need to check that these actually work. So if I have a look at, so this one's loading the. Oh, I need to turn that off. Yeah, so. Put it back to loading the palette, and put the other one back to loading the palette as the enumerating the palette file, so that we get those coming out. Okay. Oh, that's wrong. I forgot to put file string in there. That's right. Okay. But Bag of Spanners says I've got to post it here somewhere to remind me to try building it with GCC SDK. Would be a good thing to try out, yes. See if you can get it built automatically. I did vaguely look at it a while back, but the restriction of the license just meant I would be wasting my own time. The only thing, it would be only an exercise for myself, which I didn't feel was especially useful. Okay, so commit -a. Add implementation of the template enumeration. We can now enumerate the template within template file. Simple test. Oh, I haven't wired the tests up to CI. Simple tests can be run to check that we enumerate properly. There we go. Right, so we need to make sure that this actually, if we build the non-module version, does it still work? Yep, if we build the non-module version, that still builds. But if I have a look at the row build here, this one needs to be read a wildcarded name. Yes. This one is tested, it runs. We can enumerate the templates. There we go. Enum. Then we check that we can load a template with swise. There we are. And then we check that we can enumerate with swise. All right, let's commit that as well. Amend because it's part of the same change really. There we go, and we can push that and we'll see whether it works. We go over to the repository, look at the actions. Let's see what we get. Right, building, testing, enumerating. What did that do? That was load, and this is enumerate. Yeah, enumerate looks like it's working. Build the dummy module. There we go, enumerated those three. Oh, hang on. Test that we can load a template with the swise. Oh, because it loads all of them, doesn't it? And this is enumerating them the swise. Yeah. Okay, that seems to have worked. Cool. I think actually that's double testing there because I think we're loading. We probably really want to make it the load one. Sorry, no, go back to the load build. Sorry, I meant to be there. Load template probably should only ever go for one of them. So we go black BG. LACK-BG. There, we should only load that one. Let's just commit that. I could probably parameterize the code here, but not a big deal right now. Push one down. Oh, so push minus F. Right. Well, I'm quite pleased with that. I'm really quite pleased with that, actually. Yes, that's gone really well. Go to there and then have a look at it. Oh, hang on. I've broken it. I've broken it. What? Template entry not found. What? Black BG. Oh, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Oh, that's because it enumerates, it goes round the loop and then returns it can't find one. Oh, that's actually correct. Because the second time round it wouldn't be able to find it. What should I do about that? What should I do about that? If instr bracket template string comma quote star is not equal to -1. Is it -1 or is it 0? I think it's -1 because I think everything's 0 indexed. And question mark is not equal to. not equal to basic. Then except that's also the wrong way around. It should be an or. If either of those, if it's got a star in it or it's got a question mark in it, then we... No. If it's a wildcarded one, I want it to continue. Equals -1. And if it doesn't have either of those... Yeah, I can do logic. No, apparently I can't do logic. The template... Is it 0 then? Can't be 0, surely. Basic. Intro bracket. Hello. L. 3. P. 0. H. 1. I thought there was 0. Dear gosh. I don't know how to write basic code apparently. Quit. There we go. Alright, so that should now be correct and pass its tests. Let's go check that. Really, we should wrap this in something that actually checks whether the output is correct as well. But that has done the job. Okay. So next thing is let's update our status. Do we have a status window anywhere here? I don't think I have a Riscos status window lying around. Ah, here it is. Yep, that's me doing Lua testing and things. That's good fun. What I want to look at is this bit. Right, so we can now read the template from the template file. Yes. We can enumerate the templates. Yes. That is now done. That is cool. So with that done, I need to let's go back here. Build both versions. Build Riscos ammo -f module. I want to build the 64-bit version as well. Yeah, lots of casting problems. Not a big deal. Okay, and then we move RM32 those to the right place. And then in here, yep, as a update window manager with the template, not window manager, window templates. We call it Wimp Templates here, don't we? With the template enumeration. Enumerate enumeration. I will finish this sentence and then I will go and get myself another cup of tea, I think. Now enumerate templates. Status and modules updated. There we go. Push that, and if we have a look over here, this is where we're at right now. We've nearly got the internals done actually. We're nearly there. Reload that page and oh, come on, hasn't built it yet. Reload the page. Either that or I've got some. There we go. It's now built it. Thank you. So short break for 10 minutes. And then I'll come back and we'll have a look at sizing the templates and then potentially reading non-template data. Finally, we'll have a look at handling fonts. We may not get to that today, but I think we can get that part done. Sorry, that part done. I'll point to it on the right screen because then you can see me. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Also, I'm going to change these, so I'm going to update these to be Wimp Open Template interface, so that we can say that there's two distinct parts. There's the interface and then there's the actual implementation of it in the Wimp. And the idea there is that we've got the sort of test interface being implemented in a different module, and then eventually we can finally make it work with the templates itself. You can also see here I've added a set of percentages here. So we've got 62% functionally complete, 45.45% totally complete. So we're going pretty well here, because the SWIs are part of that, but we can get it all the way to being functional, I think. Right, take a short break, and then we'll be looking at the next bit. All right, so back in 10 minutes or so, about 14:50. Right, see you in a bit. Excellent. Thank you for noticing. Hello, people. I put it on mute because I was eating my mince pie. Right. As I was saying, and you weren't hearing, before the break, we did the reading side, the enumeration of templates, and ew, mince pies are awesome. Lost where I was now. Yeah, so we had template enumeration working, and I think we've mostly got template sizing working. But when I look back through here, I've got required space as looks like it's staying the same, which is interesting. Because I don't think all of these windows have exactly the same amount of space required for them. So something odd is up with that. I need to see what's going on. I've never been a big fan of jam tarts, I'm afraid, but each to their own. Jam tarts still better than custard tarts. So anyway, looks like the required space we've got here is not working, because what should be when we come back here is not required space. It says preserved or required space. So actually, unless I'm using find size of template, it shouldn't actually be returning anything different there. That's interesting, which means that the output is correct. Only when I'm sizing it should it be different. So we can do that. We can go and put the sizing in. Let's write a bit of code that can test the sizing. Actually, doesn't enumerate test the sizing, because we do -1s out of this. No, not that one. Not that one. Pyro. Everything but. Let's take the WX out because we don't need that at the moment. I think the enumeration. Come on. I moved the module out of the way. Can you change the template and soft load it without committing to ROM? For example, Task Manager. So in a normal system, the window template handling is entirely built into the window manager. So you can't do that. You can't go and reload it whilst you're running a system. However, there are ways of doing that. So you could use Wimp Swive to do that. I don't know if there's been a 32-bit port of Wimp Swive. And the window manager itself has a Wimp extend entry point that allows you to replace SWI calls. So you could hack it in that way. I'm not planning on doing that. I'm just going to leave it as a separate module at the moment. If somebody wants to build it in, and essentially a good way of doing this would be to build this code into the window manager as a section of code, and then it would be all in C. And that's if I was doing it, my window manager that I've got, I could relatively easily do that, I suspect. Yeah, I could probably easily do that, come to think of it. That would probably be trivial. Trivial, yeah. Trivial in the sense of maybe like 20 hours worth of work or something. That's still not a lot of work though. Anyway, yeah, it's not at the moment. You can definitely unplug window. You don't need to unplug it. You could just stick a window manager into the boot sequence, and that's what the nested Wimp does. You can have the nested Wimp can easily be loaded at boot time, and you could relatively easily do that with most modern systems, I would think. If you can't, then that's a problem, because Riscos is meant to be modular and you're meant to be able to do that at any time. There was originally problems in Riscos 3.1 with how difficult that was, but it's largely become a lot easier now. That doesn't apply to things like the file switch module and things like that. They're a lot harder to handle. A lot harder to handle. Yes, so you could also change that. I believe most of the Riscos built-in ROM modules have a path variable, so you actually can change, usually not all of them, but many of them you can change task manager $path or possibly switch a $path to point somewhere else, and it will go and pick its resources up from somewhere else as well. But obviously that won't change the template loading code for testing this. Anyway, yeah. So what I was going to do was try the enumeration, wasn't I, with the new module, and just check what happens size-wise. So test enum template. So there it says required size 518. Actually, let's try this. So if I say the window size is, win size 496, win size, and 518, and 518. There we go. Oh no, win size. Stupid. Right. Oh no, this is not the. No, I've got to do it in load. Actually, that's probably not a bad. We don't need that in enumeration. In enumeration, you don't need that. It's not there. Yes, that was very similar to what Neuralink did. And as Spanner says, you can also have other modules that provide a resources for that. I think Neuralink had a mix of resourcefs and file paths. I can't really remember. Yeah, I don't remember. It's gone from my head now. Right, let's try and put this back in here. No, so I didn't copy it. Win size. Oh, not typing right. So 518 there. Win size. Oh, except win size is no use because it never gets checked for size. It's in size that's the one that matters. In size % equals 4096. In size 4096. Yeah. In size and 34. So let's prove that we can actually get this working. In size. There we go. Okay, so this is gonna. What should happen here is it should be successful in enumerating, in loading rather, because 34 will. No, that did not work. What went wrong? Oh, that's because we're doing the if when got inside. So yeah, so the intent of doing this is I can just comment this one out when I want to make it back into the other size. The reason I got all these errors here was because I'm trying to do rendering when we're not in a rendering mode. I could probably send it to Cairo actually, but it doesn't matter. No, I'm going to just turn this off. So create win false. Right, let's try that. Indirect end. Limit is ampersand that side till in size. Okay. Oh, because I've set it as being 4096 again. Wimp 5 was updated. Oh, right, okay. Well, that's interesting. That means you could potentially use that as the entry point for this. That would work quite well. Right, so this has come out okay. It said that the indirect end is there and the limit was there. So if I now go and say just 30 bytes, hex 30 bytes instead, right, now it goes and corrupts memory. So we've overwritten past the end of the buffer, which is quite useful. Right, so since we've overwritten the end of the buffer, I need to actually report an error there. And the error should be window definition won't fit, which we can do. So in the errors here, add a new one. Actually, what is the error message called? Let's discuss kitten h dot new errors templates. No template, bad template. Huh. Okay, let's look for just Wimp ones then. Not enough room for sprites. Message block too big. Doing tasks. Invalid. Too big. Wimp too big. Okay, that one there. Yeah, when you're doing comments on YouTube, it tends to be a bit of a pain, unfortunately. Cannot fit indirected. Oh. That'll do. It tells me that it's the templates that are faulty, it's the indirected icons, and it's the window definition that's the problem. I think that's a better way of doing it. Where's me? Have I lost it? There. I clicked the wrong button and it went jumping all over the place. There we go. So that's Wimp Too Big. It's a really terrible name, but we'll use that for now. And then we put that into here in the load templates code. So we filled in the data there. Buffer required. That's when it returns the size. This is when it returns the required space. If buffer data underscore failed for buff ind, then return Wimp Too Big. Right, let's try that. Maniac. So this is ammo. Build the module. And then run it. Load template. It's load template I want, isn't it? That's correct. It reported the right error. Cool. And then if I go and make it 34, it should be successful now. Excellent. I think that's pretty neat. All right, so we can now read the size, and the size does come out correctly. I feel confident about that. I can take that away, and I can just put that back to true, so it will run this properly. Yeah, it's fine. Git status. Okay. Add error reporting when size is not correct, is too small for the indirect data. Also checked that the template, the template sizing works properly too. Okay. Now, one of the things I don't have is a template file that contains non-template data. So that's a little bit harder to handle. How can I test that? I suppose I could construct one. I'm not sure. Because if we have a look in here and we look at the load code, so that's this code here, read template, we just continue on blindly. Regardless of what the information is, and that's not right. We shouldn't do that. What we should probably do is check whether the data is for a window. So have a look in the structures up here. Oh, it's not up here. Where are the structures? Are they in the templates file here? Yeah, data type, there we go, so it's one of those. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do data type equals this here. Read the data. We read that. That's to read it into the buffer, isn't it? So, if data type is 1, Wimp template. Otherwise, not a Wimp template. So if we have a look over here, it does say something about this, I think. No error is generated for objects of type not equal to 1. The object is simply loaded into the buffer and no indirected icon data processing occurs. It used to report an error, but we don't do that anymore. So, if a non-template data object is requested, we only load the data into the buffer. No processing. is performed. So in order to do this, we need to be able to load the data to begin with. And the easiest way to do that is to see how much space we've got. Load it into the data and then just increment the index. Can we do that with buffer data? I don't know, we can. I want to be able to know how much space is remaining. Limit minus the current offset. For the for buffer win, yeah, win. We then want to read that much data. What's remaining end up being? Yeah, we never return more than 0, less than 0. Good. So we read that amount of data into the buffer. I think we call buffer data address. There we go. Offset 0 relative true. Offset into buffer win, offset 0 relative true. And we want to read the size remaining. And this is where the size becomes useful. Let's find templates read. Templates read. Nope, not that one. Not that one. Come on, function, please. Templates read. There we go. So what I want to do here is just tiny optimization for the case where we're sizing things. If size equals 0, return 0, because there's no point in doing anything. Right, so that'll read the beginning part of the buffer, and then we want to seek forwards by the remaining section. Oh, remaining data. Oh, no, that's... This is wrong because the buffer might be much larger, mightn't it? So red equals. If remaining is greater than size, remaining equals size. So we never read more than the size of the template. I forgot to seek, didn't I? Need to seek to the offset as well. Template seek to the offset, seek set. Read that amount of data. And then Dope Nope said, why not Linux? I'm not sure what you mean there, I'm afraid. This is not Linux code I'm writing, this is Riscos code. So if that's what you're meaning, that's the explanation. Read that. So that gets us a chunk of code. checking of data. Maybe more to come. So size minus equals red. If size is greater than 0, then okay. If size is greater than 0, then we just need to seek forwards in the buffer data. So buffer data underscore seek. How much further forwards do we need to go? We need to go by size. We need to pass in the buffer as well, buff win. And we want to do that relative to where we currently are. And that should be it. If red is less than remaining, then we reach the end of the file. So that's an end of file error there. I think that should work. I think that should allow us to read non-Wimp templates. If anybody has an example of a non-Wimp template file, it'd be really useful to be able to see. Otherwise, I may have to create one at some point, but I'm not doing it right now because I don't want to. I'll work it out how to do, so it's not really that hard, I'm sure. Right, status. Yeah. There's a add tentative support for the non-Wimp template file objects. Template files can contain non-Wimp templates. These could be sprite areas, sprite files, areas, or translations, or some other general data. It'd be really nice if there was a service call that went out of the Wimp to say, I've got this data, what do you want to do with it? And that would then let other things handle it. And potentially you could have done res files like that. Resource files for Toolbox could have been handled as extensions to the Wimp templates. I mean, they could also have things like indications of how to implement things. Maybe a bytecode that says, when this icon here is clicked, it generates you this sort of event code or something like that, and that could be processed by your library and stuff. But it was never done. It seems like a little bit of a missed opportunity, particularly since draw files had the ability to extend with different objects when the draw file module was created. So it's a little odd, that one, but it's there. Right, so now we've handled sizing and non-template data. Next one I wanted to handle was font data. Now, font data is relatively rare inside template files, mainly because they're just painful to work with. I'm trying to think if there's anywhere I've actually used them myself. I'm sure I have. I'm certain I've used them. In fact, Task Manager uses them, doesn't it? Pretty sure that Task Manager uses them. So let's not that copy. Loads of things in there from old work and stuff I was trying to get. I'll do the copy modules. Risk or source kernel, no, not kernelexed. Yeah, links there were to Geospoc sources that I'd found lying around. Geospoc's an old company I used to work for that went into administration some years ago. It's very, very sad. But yeah, I I found it very, very, yeah, I liked working at Geospoc. I found some of the things at the end were a bit frustrating because I ended up didn't want to work for a database company. I didn't think that was particularly interesting. But hey ho, that was just the way things went. I was looking for Task Manager, which is called Switcher. Resources, UK, template. Oh no, sorry, select, template, templates. There we go. Oh, copy it here. Select, template. Actually, what we'll do is we'll just call this font. Oh, damn it. Font, template, because it's pretty dumb. Font template into test data templates. There we go. All right. So now if we look in test data templates, we've now got a font template in there as well. And I think if we try and read that, use the program, where's it gone? That one there. Enumerate, test data, templates, font data template. So we should find this enumerates just fine. Got lots of templates in there. The one that I care about though is called information. There's a template called black. Oh, that's the black background. That's the black background when you you shut down the system. Right. Okay. So we want to put we want to load load template information, and we want to load that. And probably what I actually want to do is to turn on the debugging again, so we can see what is going on with it, because then we can try setting that up. Right. Discuss ammo, build it. And then let's have a look at this. There shouldn't be anything too exciting with it. There we go. One button for the acknowledgements, and that is it. Okay. One of the bits we need to care about though is the font flag. Where's the font flag? Anti-aliased, there we are. So let's put that in here when we're reading a icon. Find identifier, that's the find identifier for it. Indirect strings, icon data, here we go. I've handled all that, haven't I? Yes, we've handled all that. Nothing to do there. So this is the bit that handles fonts. If icon flags that. Oh, this is kind of interesting, isn't it? Because we want to be able to create the icon, create the font handles, but we don't want to do that when we're enumerating. So this code needs to know about whether we're enumerating or not. That's irritating. Bool enum only. Only enumerating, not writing in memory. Actually, that's quite interesting. So, if you had a template that you tried to load in, and it didn't fit, I can't do the fix up in here. I've got to do the icon handling afterwards. No, this is wrong. No, we can we can do it a different way. We have to go. So if buffer data failed, it's ampersand buff win, or buffer data failed, failed ind win. Oh no, they're not ampersand, they're just their pointers. If we failed, return TEOK. Probably shouldn't return OK to say when we failed, should we? We read the we did what was needed. We just didn't. Yeah, all right. If not buffer failed and not buffer failed, that's the better way of doing it. That seems like a better way of doing it. So we've fitted all the data into the window blocks and indirect blocks. Now we need to load check for fonts in the windows. So if we failed to do that, either because we were enumerating or reading the size, or got a truncated buffer or something, then we're going to fall out. Otherwise, we'll go and fix up the icons. So we can go and do that here with, yeah, so we do this as fix up icon font, let's call it that. There we are. And that's exactly the same data as here. And if we pass in and LTD as well, let the load template data block into there. And we need to then do the same thing for all of the icons, which is this bit here. Fix icon font. Ooh, I left an X on the end of there. Oops. And that's pretty much exactly the same code as that one. Icon flags, icon data. Boom, boom, boom. Window icons. Oh no, that's not right. No, that's wrong. Hang on. We need to find the pointer inside the buffer. So window win is window star buffer data address, or in the buffer win of 0, not relative, and then it's win to icons bracket icon num. I'll fix it up in the data block, I hope. Probably, maybe, not sure. Fix up icon font. So we call fix up icon font on that, and it should give us the right details. All right, so let's implement this function. Template error think. Oh, actually, we'll probably want. Yeah, we'll do it as a template error. Fix icon font is, so this is load template data T, so LTD. The icon is a Wimp icon flags, and then the icon data. I don't actually know what the icon data is. Is that? It's a Wimp icon data. Well, fair enough. In fact, although I've just written that out, let us just do that again. That's not the correct. That's not the correct thing. LTD points to the collected data for template loading. And icon the flags for the icon. Yeah, that's right there. And then this one, we'll paste. Yeah, that's right. There we go, got the right things in there. So this is templates fix up icon font, update the icons font using the information from the template. LTD points to the data for loading the file. Icon flags equals the flags for the icon to fix. And icon data equals the data we're using. And most of this, oh, except I want to write back the flags. I need to write them back. Oh, yeah, because we need to update them. Okay, let's just do that. Pointer to. We don't need the icon data at all. We don't need the icon data, we just need a pointer to the flags because we're going to update those. It's really awkward because to make this work, you put the font handle into the colors that are used in the icon, and in order to do that, it requires that the font handle be less than 255, or less than 256, sorry, which is just a bad design because it means that we're restricted in the font handles. I mean, not that's terrible, but 256 handles for the entire system is quite low. It assumes that you haven't actually got very much you can do. Well, that's life, I suppose, but again, these can be fixed up later. I can replace this with ampersand there and get rid of the title data because we don't need to know about the data. We just need to fix up the flags. Okay. So let's do this as uint32. Oh no, better to do it as Wimp icon flags, I suppose. Flags equals icon star icon flags. If flags ampersand not star anti-aliased missed. Right, icon flags. There we go, I'll give you the flags value. This is anti-aliased, So we need to claim the font. Now, in order to find what the font is, we need to look at the font table, which was somewhere in the midst of the header. If I remember rightly, when we open the file, we ignore the font block. So there's probably a note in here that says we ignore the fonts. Better way of recording errors. Yeah, fair enough. Could probably do that at some point as well. Font data offset. There we go. So we've reported the font data offset. We haven't done anything with it. Okay. What does font data look like? I don't know. I'm going to have to find it in the documentation. So, where is the chapter index? That's what I want. File formats. Now, this has all been nicely done by Alan in the new documentation, but I haven't got around to publishing it yet. Oh, file formats doesn't include template files. Really? Is that because it's a supplement? Okay, fine. It's in here. Right. So header contains file offset of the font data. And the font data is, the file ends with an optional set of font data. Yeah, strictly it could be anywhere, I suppose, which is indicated by the first word of the header. Point size, font name. The first entry is referred to by handle 1, the second by handle 2. And this is a control terminated buffer that must be less than 40 characters long. So again, so restrictive. It just there's not a lot of thought that went, well, I can't say there's not a lot of thought that went into it. They probably thought that was quite reasonable, and that if it was a problem they would update it later. Again, that's not a bad plan, but it's now 30 years on and we're still stuck with it. Not a big deal though. Let us go through the data and see what we can do with it. 40 characters, luxury, says Dave. Right. So either I can load the font data in here and put it into a buffer as part of my opening the file, which isn't such a terrible idea actually, or I can get it every single time. I think I'm going to parse it initially because why not? It would make a lot more sense to do that way. Should I do that? I'm trying to decide whether it's a good idea. There's reading number of entries, reading all of the entries into a block of entries there, validating them. Some fix me's there, we should look into that. And then there's a little bit of debug here. All right, so load the font table. Hang on, how do I know how big the font? I don't know how big the font table is. It's got to be at the end. Oh, that's awful. Oh, I thought that would be really easy there. I thought, oh, we'll be able to just like read the size in, but no, it doesn't actually have a size field. It's just, it must be at the end of the file and of this size. That is tacky. Which probably means I can actually just seek anytime I wanted to get to that point. Not sure. Really didn't want to do that. I'll just read it here, it's fine. How do I get the file size? I have to do FC, can do it that way. If, because we only want to do this if the font offset was set. If it's not 0, we've already converted it to a 0. Actually, easier way of doing this. If it is 0, OT to font table equals 0 equals null. OT to n fonts equals 0. Otherwise, you want 32t, no, size, yeah, file size, fseek, within the file called OT to file handle, offset 0, seek end. File size equals ftal, OT to file handle. Excuse me. Thank you. Oh. It's only 3 sneezes that time. That was a lot easier. Font size, table size equals. Ooh, hang on. This failure code here, that doesn't free the entries. I also can't spell tell. If we couldn't read the entries here, we go to file. We never freed them. Ooh. So that's a leak. You know what? I'll just do a calc there and make sure it's all zeroed. I do find these sessions useful, says Riscos UK. I'm starting to understand it a little more, even though I don't code. I started paying more attention to things. Well, I hope they're useful. I'm trying to explain what I'm trying to do as I'm doing it. I may not be doing great on some things because I do expect people to have more knowledge than I necessarily should be expecting them to have. But I'm glad you're finding them useful. We're just trying to get something out of it that's helpful to other people as well as myself. Yeah, it's one of those things that's we're trying to get right. If there's something else we can do differently, you please do ask questions and do feel free to give feedback on the Riscos Open forums as well if it's useful there, because we can always try and change up what we're doing here. But as I said, I'm trying to get these to be some things that people can learn themselves, learn that they themselves can actually do some of this coding, even if they're not the best at it. Even if it's just a case of understanding what things are needed and what's necessary to do any particular operation. It might be time for a separate Riscos Devs forum. Well, that would be a good idea. Given that Riscos Open are not providing any sort of feedback themselves, there's really no reason why the code review section, for example, couldn't be used for that or something. But could always have that. It's not a particularly difficult one. However, saying that, Discord. Come on, Discord. How do we go to Discord? There we go, Discord. I don't think I'm logged in, am I? I'm not logged in. Let me just go log in. Yeah, very fast there. Thank you. Oh, gosh. Scan this on your... I'll scan that then. It will be much quicker. Opening. I missed. Try again. Give a moment. And no, apparently that didn't do the thing. I was expecting it to communicate with this and it do that, but I've got a security key here, so let's okay. Dum. At which point I find that I've not got a security key on it. Right, I suppose. I'll touch it again, so I got to read the message. All right then. Passkey. I'll type the blooming thing in then. Trying to get logged into things is just painful. And LastPass has now told me that I need to go to my mailbox to go and check things. Just give me a second. I'm gonna. I'm gonna check in here, can't I? It's going to get to the point where you can't actually even log into things because the rules for logging into things are more complex than you could ever possibly humanly do. In Hitchhiker's Guide to the... Sorry, I only just saw Dave's comment. I was going to say, in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, there's a guy who's got a... I can't remember what they called it, but it was basically a master password that let you validate that you were yourself to anything. And it was a really stupid thing to have because this one thing proved who you were to everyone. And it does feel like that we're getting to that point sometimes. Sometimes, not always. Right. Copy password. Paste password. Email address or phone number. Gerph@gerph.org. No. Thank you. Right. What I was trying to say was there's this thing, the Riscos coding community, which I do not know whether you can get to without an invite. And I'm not, if you've got a link, and if that lets you link to it, then that will work. If it says, no, you need an invite, then you might have to ask people. The best way to do that is to drop a line to myself or one of the coding community people who run it. So have a look in general. You can see there's a number of people here who are involved in this, and they can potentially give you an invite to it. It's a spanner icon. Yes. But there's a lot of potential for people to actually get involved if you go through something like this. Again, this is Discord, so you get like real-time responses. It's not the same as a forum, but yeah, feel free to try and get involved in that. I will mention it on the Riscos Open Forum when I get back to there later today, and hopefully we'll be able to. People can then try and get involved. It is a very useful resource, or rather, it could be if people used it. It isn't, obviously no resource is useful if people don't use it. Excuse me. Where was I up to? I was trying to do something. Dave's done lots of icons for things. The Capcom was nice. I quite like the Spectrum one as well. That was quite neat. Right, we were trying to do font handling. So font table size equals font equals file size minus font table offset, isn't it? Font data offset. Actually, that's a very good point. If OT font data offset is less than file size, that's a corrupt file. EOF. Is it EOF, or should I be returning something else to say it's... Oh no, I return null from this to say I can't open it. There we go. Font table size is that. So we can then go and load that into some memory. So OT to font table equals malloc that size, font table size. And then we'll just seek set OT font data offset, and then fread. Oh, how does fread work? I've forgotten already. Oh, we actually do it this way, don't we? Sorry, we can do it this way. Templates read, because then it's easier. Is not equal to font table size. We'll just go to failed. Oh, go to failed. Yes, that's what I should do here. Dave does some very cool things in his Blender videos and the outputs from that. Although I do particularly like his little marble runs. They're really quite cute. All the little bits he's put together for that. It's done really, really nice, that. Always got to be envious of people that have skills that I don't. Not that I have many skills in other areas, so font table size is font table size. Right, so OT to n fonts equals font table size divided. I've just realized, I've just twigged, literally just twigged why this works. It's because it's divided by 48. Because divided by 48 is actually quite easy to do, because you can multiply it up and then divide down and get the right answer, which is kind of cool. What do you have to multiply it by? I can't think. I don't know, maybe it isn't that useful, I don't know. Either way, it's not too terrible there. Division, not a big deal. So now we've got the number of fonts and we've got the font table, so we'll be able to do a lookup in that. So let's go and add that to the table structure here. So we want a template font entry underscore s is type def, so type def font total font entry template font entry t uint 32t x point size 16 uint 32t y point size 16 and font name 40 characters, and that'll make 48. And I shouldn't have used 48 in there, should I? I should have used size of template font entry. There, that will then be correct. Compile time check the structure is the right size. We can also do that for this one. and that must be 48. No, 4 plus 4 plus 40. Do the calculation, because then you know how it's composed. And then we have on here int, and fonts, and font, so template font entry t star font table. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Other bit I want to do here is to make sure that we actually free this. So the font OT font table needs to be freed when we fail. So we do free OT to font table there. And also when we close it, we need to do that as well. So we need to do that here. There we go. And if it's null, it won't do anything. All right, so that gives us sort of the basis of this. We've got the basis of being able to read this, but I'm not sure we're going to get much more done in the next. Well, no, it's 44 o'clock, so I'm going to be calling this a day in a minute. Oh dear. 189 of should be open template. Missing semicolon at 485. Oh yeah, missing semicolon there. Let's just printf is anti-alias. I'll just mark it as such there, and then we can have a look in a minute. Right, that's better. Implicit cast, narrowing cast, because that's meant to be a long, isn't it? The file, that return value. So let's do that. Sorry, do that. Occasionally it does this, it just prints out finished and never actually does the compile. I'm not quite sure why. Oh, yeah, I don't know what's gone on with it. Implicit narrowing cast. Oh, it did work. Oh, I don't know what happened there. So again, that's because that's now a long. We can make it a long, it's okay. And the other bit was indwind. We'll just make it an int there. And we'll just make it an int here as well. Or maybe I should have cast it when I did it, I don't know. Either way, I'm not going to worry. These things are not, they don't need to be perfect. I don't know what goes wrong with that, it's very strange. Implicit returning non-void front pointer, that's function, that's not good. So yeah, we return TEOK there. And then is that everything? Ind window. Thought ind win was. Do we not pass in the ind? How did that work? Oh, because it's been sorry. It's buff ind, not ind win. Ugh. Helps if you can read your code. There we go. Yeah, that looks okay to me. So, if we now try and do that read the information template, we should get that it knows that it's got font handles in it. No, it didn't. Is this information the wrong thing? Is this not the info window? Prog info I should be looking at. Oh, information is the acknowledgements window. That's why I'm looking at the wrong blooming template. Should have noticed that, really. Loading lots of icons and then fix-ups. Oh. It doesn't say that any of them are anti-aliased. That's odd. What is the anti-aliased bit? 1 shifted left 6. 6 is 4. Yeah, there's none of those that are set there, is there? Maybe it doesn't have a anti-aliased bit on it. Does it not? If I have a look up here, did we not print out the offset? Oh no, it's no good. Top of the file, look for the open code. Here we go. Font data offset. Read header, finding template, prog info, writing template. Why did I not get that printed out? Have I got debug turned on? I've got debug turned on. Font data offset 0. So sorry, I missed it up here. Okay, so this template does not apparently have any of that on there. Well, come on, there must be something that has them. The old templates that were used for the desktop banner. CP. Old templates used for the desktop banner. So that'll be in desktop resources UK. UK old templates. Let's try that then. Because for select we replaced it with just a single sprite because it was a lot easier to handle and everything. That doesn't look right to me. That looks like it's the same one we had before. What's gone on? Oh, I didn't move it to the right place. Move font template to there. Do it again. And that's not going to find the prog info because it's not really called prog info, but we'll see what it's called. Ooh, ooh, badness. Ooh, so much badness. Excellent. Ah, I think what this is telling us is my test code doesn't handle the case where it's broken. Failed to open file even. Ooh, what? Font data offset is there, and then fail to open file, and then finding template. This is not good. I think that's just purely the test code though. Is it? Yeah, we need to actually do an exit 1 there and say we failed. That's what went wrong. Don't know why we failed though. Font data offset was, so it did have font data in it, and then it failed. So if we jump back to the templates again, where did we fail? Initial words are not 0. Let's see if it's that, shall we? Build, build, built. Because if there are words that end up not being 0, then I can't use this test, even though No, that's not the one that's failing. Okay, so what's causing it to fail then? Could not allocate memory for entries. Seek. Could not read all the template data, giving up. That one's there. Got an error message there. Oops, that's the wrong way around. If the data is after the end of the file, font data has an invalid file offset. That's what it was complaining about because I got it around the wrong way. And then this one fails to read font table. Right. Still not doing it. I think it has built nonetheless. There we go, it's built it. Right, so we failed to find that, and the banner is called desktop. There we go. Is anti-aliased, is anti-aliased, is anti-aliased. Brilliant. So we'll be able to look into that next time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that template because it's just a standard Riscos template basically. I don't think it's a problem us adding that. And we'll make a note that we are starting initial work to load templates with font. Templates with fonts. When fonts are present within the template, we can now recognize them, but don't do anything with them. Next time we'll have a go at making them work. I think that's the best way of phrasing that. All right, let's push those changes, and then we'll go and do a quick update because we've done a couple of things. We've done the size of templates, implemented, non-template data is implemented. We don't have handling of fonts, but we do have, I'm going to just put these in here as, I'm going to label them as dummy or no test. Oh, and I want to remove the SWI number from there, don't I? Because that's not actually. And let's call it Wimp Templates. Those can all be marked as complete because they do work at the moment. All right. So the only bit we haven't got is those, so we'll be at basically 50% there. Oh, and I need to build the modules and things. So just demo -f 64-bit module. (32-bit module). And then move them into the right place. Status. Okay. Add the Wimp templates updates for sizing and non window templates. Templates cannot type. Now handles the sizing and the non-window template loading, although the latter has not been tested. A new SWI set for the test SWIs. Push that, and if we have a look over here, so this is where we were before. We had 62.5% and 45.45 total, nothing in the SWI section. That should jump to 50% because we've got them duplicated, and this functionality should go up. Let's have a see. Yep, there we go. Now 71.43%. Doesn't that feel better? Yay! All right, that looks good to me. That is the end of the session. What have we done today then? So we've added in the enumeration code. So in fact, we look at down here. We've done the enumerations here. We've done reading the templates. We've already done size of templates. We did today. Non-template data we've done today. A little bit of error handling added into the code. Still a little bit flaky in places, but not too bad. And we're starting on this. Actually, starting on. Oh, that's the thing. I've added a new. Setting, which is arrow to make a play icon. So git commit minus a minus amend. Nobody will care that I'm just amending it. There we go. Let's push that. It's been pretty productive, this one, I think. Yeah, I'm really quite pleased with it. I mean, I was hoping I would get the fonts done, but it's understandable that you can't get everything done in the time. So we have a look over here. Hopefully, if I reload that now. So the percentage doesn't change when you change it to be a play, but it does highlight it as this is being worked on. Which makes it a little bit easier for you to see that there is progress happening, even if it's not complete yet. So there we go. Next week. I shouldn't clap my hands, it'll make noises. Next week. Oh, we also fixed the Viscose Pyromaniac template handling as well, which was coming out wrongly. I still need to add font handling into that. Next week we will look at doing the font handling and then start looking a little bit more in the way of testing and maybe putting in the Pyromaniac tests as well. I think that's pretty much going to be it for this project, because it'll be at that point I will feel comfortable saying that this is now complete. Sorry, no, functional, not complete, because it's not complete until it's actually built into a proper module. Well, maybe we could say it's complete. I don't know. It's functional, certainly. We can definitely commit to that. So next week we'll hopefully get to that point, and that will be the last session on templates. I'm not sure what we'll be looking at next, but if we go back to here, so we can see that the Wimp Templates was part of this work. So we've got a few other bits and pieces, FS commands, I2C, stub. Hourglass I want to get working, but that's a bit of an awkward one. Pointer maybe. I'm wondering if FS commands is the one to go with, because it's actually not too hard. I think most of that is relatively easy because it's just dispatching elsewhere. Yeah, Video TTX is the teletext implementation. So all of the decomposition that I've done for this is based on how I did it in Select. I've already decided on the interfaces for teletext and everything. So Video TTX, where's Video TTX gone? Can't see it, there it is. So Video Teletext has lots of different things that are already implemented, and it's literally just a C module that I wrote 20 years ago. Yeah, about 20 years ago, which implements all of teletext. Not great, but it works. So it was just to compile it and make it work, and that did the job. It's not currently implemented for the 64-bit yet, and the reason it's not implemented for 64-bit is because I haven't yet defined how you claim a SWI in 64-bit code, because I do not wish to do it the same way that we did it in RISC-OS 32-bit. It is a little bit of a head scratcher, and I've not needed to work on it yet. Once I've decided on how to do it and implemented it in Pyromaniac, it's a small matter of implementing it in CMunge, and then all of those modules will work. I just haven't got around to doing so yet. Anyway, that's what Video TTX is for. It doesn't got a summary here. I should have written a summary to say what's in there. I will get around to it. Anyway, that's that. Next week, hopefully, we'll get the templates implementation done, and we can start looking at one of the other components. As I say, I think might do FS commands, because FS commands is not a bad one to do. We can get that almost certainly up to prototype level reasonably quickly. Prototype's the yellow, and it should not be difficult. Again, that's not going to be easy to do in the 64-bit because you can't claim vectors yet. All right. As usual, if people have any questions, any comments, please post them on the RISC-OS Open forums for this, whatever it's called, this session. I will put a link on the chat now to the RISC-OS Open posts. I think it's that one. So you should be able to go and follow that. That's interesting. I can post links, but nobody else can. Why is that? That seems interesting. Maybe it's to stop people from link spamming and rickrolling people. I wonder if that's something I can change. Maybe there's a moderation thing. Moderation activity. I'll have a look into that. Again, I'm learning how to do some of these things, so maybe that's a thing we can look at later. All right, sorry, I've spent about 5-10 minutes just talking about what we're planning to do. So thank you very much. See you all later. Have a great weekend, what's left of it. Bye. No, not that one. Not that one. That's the wrong button. It's that one. There we go. I know what I'm doing. I'm professional. See ya.